The stars twinkled in the vast darkness of space. Captain Jae-hoon sat in his chair on the bridge of the Galactic Alliance patrol ship, Stargazer. He yawned and stretched his arms. It had been a quiet shift, just like every other day for the past 3 years. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on the long-range scanners," said Mina, the ship's sensor officer. Her voice was filled with surprise and a hint of worry. Jae-hoon sat up straight. "What is it, Mina? Another lost trading vessel?" Mina shook her head. "No, sir. It's huge, and I've never seen anything like it before." Jae-hoon walked over to Mina's station and looked at her screen. His eyes widened. The object was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest known ships in the galaxy. "Bring it up on the main viewer," Jae-hoon ordered. The large screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. The crew gasped. Floating in space was a ship unlike anything they had ever seen. It was dark gray and shaped like an arrow. Strange symbols covered its hull, glowing with a soft blue light. Is it alive?" asked Ta, the young pilot. Jae-hoon shook his head. "No, it's definitely a ship. But whose?" The bridge fell silent as they all stared at the mysterious vessel. It didn't move or show any signs of noticing them. "Run a full scan," Jae-hoon said, breaking the silence. "I want to know everything about that ship." Mina's fingers danced across her console. "Yes, sir. Scanning now." Minutes passed as the Stargazer's sensors probed the unknown ship. Jae-hoon paced back and forth, his mind racing with questions. Where did it come from? Why was it here? Was it friendly or a threat? "Scan complete, sir," Mina announced. Her voice trembled slightly. "Report," Jae-hoon said, trying to keep his own voice steady. Mina took a deep breath. "Captain, the technology on that ship, it's far beyond anything we've ever seen. The power readings are off the charts. And the weapons." She paused, swallowing hard. "If those are weapons, they could destroy an entire planet." Jae-hoon felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories of ancient, powerful races that once ruled the galaxy. But those were just myths, weren't they? "Any life signs?" he asked. Mina shook her head. "The hull is blocking our scans. We can't see inside." Jae-hoon nodded slowly. He knew what he had to do, even though part of him wanted to turn the ship around and pretend they had never seen this. "Tai, keep us at a safe distance. Mina, record everything. Jun, send an emergency message to Galactic Command. Use the secret channel." The crew jumped into action, their training taking over despite their fear. Jun, the communications officer, turned to Jae-hoon with wide eyes. "Sir, what should I tell them?" Jae-hoon looked back at the screen, at the massive ship that hung in space like a sleeping giant. Tell them we've made first contact with an unknown species, and that we might be in big trouble." As Jun sent the message, alarms began to blare across the ship. Mina shouted, "Captain, the ship is powering up." On the screen, the strange symbols on the ship's hull began to glow brighter. Streams of energy danced across its surface. "Evasive maneuvers," Jae-hoon yelled. Tae's hands flew across his controls, and the Stargazer rolled to the side just as a beam of bright blue energy shot past them. The entire ship shook from the near miss. "It's not attacking," Mina said, surprise in her voice. That was a scan. A very powerful scan. Jae-hoon gripped the arms of his chair. "Did they get anything from us?" Mina nodded slowly. "Everything, sir. They now know all about us, our ship, and probably the entire Galactic Alliance." The bridge fell silent again as the crew realized what this meant. Their little patrol ship had just revealed the existence of their entire civilization to an immensely powerful unknown entity. Jun's console beeped. "Sir, incoming message from Galactic Command. They're calling an emergency meeting of all galactic leaders." Jae-hoon nodded grimly. He looked back at the alien ship, which now seemed to be waiting, perhaps deciding what to do next. "May the stars have mercy on us all," Jae-hoon whispered, "because I have a feeling our lives are about to change forever." The Grand Council chamber on Centauri Prime was in chaos. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the room, their voices rising in a cacophony of different languages. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few even floated in the air. But they all shared one thing: fear. At the center of the chamber stood Admiral Sumin, her blue skin glistening under the bright lights. She raised her 4 arms, calling for silence. "Please, everyone, we must stay calm." Her voice boomed through the room, amplified by hidden speakers. Slowly, the noise died down. The gathered leaders of the Galactic Alliance turned their attention to the large screen behind Sumin. It showed the image of the human battleship, captured by the Stargazer's cameras. "As you can see," Sumin continued, "this vessel is unlike anything we've encountered before. Its size and power are concerning." A tall, thin alien with glowing eyes stepped forward. "Admiral, what do we know about these invaders?" Sumin shook her head. "Very little, Council Leader Da. They haven't communicated with us yet. But their ship scanned the Stargazer, so they know about us now." Murmurs of worry spread through the crowd. A small furry creature climbed onto its chair to be seen. "We should attack now," it squeaked, "before they can strike first." More voices joined in agreement, the fear in the room turning to anger. "No," a young voice cut through the noise. All eyes turned to see Yuna, the junior diplomat from Earth's colony on Mars. She had been quiet until now, observing from the back of the room. Yuna stepped forward, her heart pounding. She wasn't used to speaking in front of so many important people, but she knew she had to try. "We can't just attack," she said, her voice growing stronger. "We don't know their intentions. What if they're peaceful?" Council Leader Das scoffed. "Peaceful? Look at the size of their ship. Those are not the actions of a peaceful race." Yuna stood her ground. "But we don't know that for sure. In the history of my people, there have been many misunderstandings between cultures meeting for the first time. Sometimes, what looks like aggression is just a difference in communication." The room fell silent as they considered her words. Admiral Sumin nodded slowly. "The young diplomat has a point. We should at least try to communicate before we consider military action." "And how do you suggest we do that?" asked a multi-eyed alien from the back of the room. Sumin turned to a small round alien sitting at a computer console. "Han, what's the status of our translation matrix?" Han's fingers flew over the keyboard. "It's ready, Admiral. We've input all known languages. If these newcomers use any form of communication we're familiar with, we should be able to understand them." "Good," Sumin said. She turned back to the council. "I propose we send a small delegation to attempt communication. A mix of diplomats and scientists, with a military escort for protection." The room buzzed with discussion. Finally, Council Leader Day spoke. "Very well, Admiral. We'll try diplomacy. But," he paused, his glowing eyes narrowing, "we'll also prepare our fleets. If this goes wrong, we need to be ready." Sumin nodded grimly. "Agreed. Now we need volunteers for the delegation." To everyone's surprise, Yuna stepped forward again. "I'll go," she said. "I've studied first contact protocols. I can help." There was a moment of hesitation. Then Admiral Sumin smiled. "Very well, Yuna. Your courage is admirable. Who else?" Slowly, others volunteered. A scientist named Jin, eager to study the advanced technology. A seasoned diplomat called Tawu, known for his calm under pressure. And a military officer, Captain Yun, to lead the escort. As the meeting ended and the leaders dispersed, Yuna felt a mix of excitement and fear. She looked up at the image of the human ship, still displayed on the screen. "Who are you?" she whispered. "And what will you mean for our future?" Little did she know, aboard that mysterious ship, Equally curious and anxious humans were asking the very same questions about her. The small diplomatic ship, Harmony, moved slowly through space. Inside, the crew was tense. They were heading towards the massive human battleship that had appeared out of nowhere. Ambassador Taiwu stood at the front of the bridge. He was old and respected, with gray skin and wise eyes. Next to him was Yuna, the young diplomat from Mars. She looked nervous but excited. "Remember," Taiwu said to the crew, "we are here to make friends, not enemies. Be calm and respectful." Captain Yun, who was piloting the ship, nodded. "Yes, sir, but my guns are ready, just in case." As they got closer, everyone gasped. The human ship was even bigger up close. It was dark and sleek, covered in strange symbols. "It's beautiful," Yuna whispered. Jin, the scientist, was busy with his instruments. "The technology is amazing. I've never seen anything like it." Suddenly, a voice came over the radio. It was Admiral Sumin back at the Galactic HFY. "Ambassador, you're in range. You may begin communication attempts." Taiwu took a deep breath. "Here we go," he said. He pressed a button on the control panel. "Greetings, unknown vessel," he said in a clear, strong voice. "We come in peace. We are representatives of the Galactic Alliance, a union of many species. We wish to welcome you and learn about you." They waited. Seconds ticked by, then minutes. There was no response. "Maybe they didn't hear us," Yuna suggested. Jin shook his head. "No, our signal is strong. They heard us." Taiwu tried again. "Unknown vessel, please respond. We mean you no harm. We only wish to talk." Still nothing. Captain Yun looked worried. "Sir, should we move closer?" Taiwu thought for a moment, then nodded. "Slowly, Captain. Very slowly." The Harmony inched forward. They were now so close they could see details on the human ship's hull. Strange markings that looked like writing. And what might be weapons. Yuna had an idea. "Ambassador, may I try something?" Taiwu nodded. Yuna stepped forward and pressed the communication button. "Hello," she said in a friendly voice. "My name is Yuna. I'm from a planet called Mars. We're very curious about you. Can you tell us who you are?" For a moment, there was silence. Then suddenly, a beam of light shot out from the human ship. It wasn't a weapon, but a scan. It passed over the Harmony, making all the instruments go crazy. "What's happening?" Captain Yun shouted. Jin was excited. "They're scanning us, but it's like nothing I've ever seen. So powerful." The scan lasted only a few seconds. When it was done, everything went quiet again. Taiwu looked at Jin. "What did they learn about us?" Jin looked at his screens. "Everything, sir. That scan, it could see through our hull, read our computers. They now know all about our ship, our species, probably our entire civilization." Everyone was quiet as they realized what this meant. These humans now knew everything about them, but they still knew nothing about the humans. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. A giant door was opening on the side of the human ship. Captain Yun's hand moved to his weapon. "Sir, what should we do?" Taiwu held up his hand. "Wait. Let's see what happens." They all watched as something came out of the human ship. It wasn't another ship, but a person in a spacesuit. The person was floating in space, coming towards them. Yuna's eyes were wide. "They're coming to meet us." Taiwu nodded. "So they are. Captain, prepare to let them aboard. It seems our first face-to-face meeting is about to begin." As they watched the human approach, everyone on the Harmony felt a mix of fear and excitement. They were about to meet a new species, one with technology far beyond their own. What would these humans be like? What did they want? The fate of the entire galaxy might depend on what happened next. On board the massive human battleship UES Prometheus, Captain Yunjui stood on the bridge. Her dark eyes were fixed on the main screen, which showed a small alien ship approaching. "Status report," she said calmly. though her heart was racing. Lieutenant Hana, the ship's sensor officer, spoke up. "Captain, the alien vessel is about 1/10 our size. It appears to be unarmed, or at least has minimal weapons." Yun-ji nodded. "Any communication attempts?" Communications officer Jai-ho shook his head. "Yes, Captain. They've sent several messages, but our systems can't decode them yet." The crew of the Prometheus was a mix of excited and nervous. They were the first humans to travel this far into space. They had expected to find empty planets to colonize. Instead, they had found a galaxy full of alien life. "Engineering, how are we doing?" Yun-ji asked. Chief Engineer Sung-min's voice came over the intercom. "All systems are green, Captain. But I have to say, I'm dying to get a look at that alien tech." Yun-ji smiled. Sung-min's enthusiasm was contagious. "Patience, Chief. We need to be careful here." She turned to her first officer, Commander Da-hyun. "What do you think? Should we respond to their hails?" Da-hyun frowned. "It's risky, Captain. We don't know their intentions. They could be laying a trap. Or," said Jai-ho, "they could be friendly. They haven't shown any aggression so far." Yun-ji considered this. The Prometheus was on a mission of exploration and colonization. But they were also the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. They had to be cautious. "Sung-min," she called, "how's that translation program coming?" "Almost there, Captain." Sung-min replied excitedly. "Their language structure is fascinating. It's like nothing we've ever seen, but there are patterns. Give me a few more minutes." As they waited, the alien ship moved closer. Yun-ji could now see details on its hull. Strange markings, windows showing alien faces peering out. "Captain," Hana said suddenly, "they're scanning us." Yun-ji straightened. "Defensive systems." "Holding steady," replied Tactical Officer Min-seo. "The scan doesn't seem harmful. It's just very thorough." Just then, Sung-min's voice came over the intercom, filled with excitement. "Captain, I've done it. The translation program is ready." Yun-ji took a deep breath. This was it. The moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries. First contact with an alien civilization. "Play their messages," she ordered. The bridge speakers crackled to life. Strange, musical voices filled the air, now understandable thanks to Sung-min's program. "Greetings, unknown vessel. We come in peace. We are representatives of the Galactic Alliance, a union of many species. We wish to welcome you and learn about you." There was a pause, then another voice, younger. "Hello, my name is Yuma. I'm from a planet called Mars. We're very curious about you. Can you tell us who you are?" The bridge was silent. Everyone looked at Yun-ji, waiting for her decision. She stood up straight. "Well," she said with a small smile, "it would be rude not to answer, wouldn't it?" She nodded to Jai-ho, who opened a channel. "Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Alliance. I am Captain Yun-ji of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We come from a planet called Earth, though some of us, like Yuma, are from our colonies. We are on a mission of exploration and peace." She paused, then added, "We're curious about you too. There's so much we can learn from each other." As she spoke, Yun-ji saw her crew relax. The fear of the unknown was fading, replaced by excitement and hope. "Min-seo," she said, turning to her tactical officer, "prepare a shuttle. I think it's time we met our new neighbors face to face." As Min-seo left to prepare the shuttle, Yun-ji looked back at the screen. The small alien ship seemed less threatening now. Instead, it represented a new beginning, a future full of possibilities. "Let's make history," she said to her crew, a bright smile on her face. Back on Centauri Prime, the Galactic Alliance headquarters was in a state of high alert. Admiral Su-min paced back and forth in the command center, her forearms clasped behind her back. "Any word from the diplomatic team?" she asked, her voice tense. A young officer named Jun looked up from his console. Yes, Admiral. They report making contact with the humans. They're preparing for a face-to-face meeting. Shu Min nodded, but her expression remained worried. And our fleet? Ready and waiting, Admiral, replied Commander Kang. 50 ships, positioned just out of the human sensor range. Shu Min closed her eyes for a moment. She hoped they wouldn't need the fleet, but she had to be prepared for the worst. Meanwhile, on the planet's surface, the Galactic Council was in an uproar. Leaders from 100 different species argued loudly about what to do next. We should attack now, shouted a reptilian counselor, before these humans can strike first. No, countered a floating, jellyfish-like being. Violence could start a war we can't win. We must negotiate. In the midst of the chaos, Yuna's friend and fellow diplomat, Tai, was trying to calm everyone down. Please, he said, his voice barely heard over the noise. We need to wait for more information. Acting rashly could be disastrous. But fear was spreading fast. News of the human ship had leaked to the public, and panic was gripping worlds across the galaxy. On the streets of Centauri Prime, aliens of all shapes and sizes were rushing to stock up on supplies or flee to safer planets. Back in space, the human battleship Prometheus began to power up its systems. The glow of its engines caught the attention of nearby Galactic Alliance patrols. Admiral, Jun called out, his voice filled with alarm. The human ship is activating its power core. Energy readings are off the charts. Shu Min's eyes widened. Are they preparing to attack? Commander Kang shook his head. Unknown, Admiral. But if those are weapons charging up, they could wipe out half our fleet in one shot. Shu Min made a quick decision. Signal the fleet. Move into defensive positions. But do not, I repeat, do not fire unless fired upon. As the Galactic Alliance ships began to move, tension in space reached a boiling point. On board the diplomatic vessel Harmony, Ambassador Ta Wu and his team watched nervously as the situation unfolded. We need to do something, Yuna said, her voice filled with urgency. If we don't stop this, there could be a war. Tai Wu nodded grimly. You're right, but what can we do? We're caught in the middle of two powerful forces, neither of which trusts the other. Just then, Jin, the scientist, spoke up. Wait, I'm picking up a transmission from the human ship. They're trying to communicate with us. Everyone on the Harmony held their breath as Jin worked to decode the message. Moments later, Captain Yunji's voice came through their speakers. Galactic Alliance vessels, this is Captain Yunji of the UES Prometheus. We apologize for any alarm we may have caused. We are powering up our systems to launch a small shuttle for our face-to-face meeting. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations. A collective sigh of relief swept through the Harmony. But their relief was short-lived as they saw the Galactic Alliance fleet moving into attack positions. They don't know, Yuna exclaimed. The fleet doesn't know the humans are peaceful. Tai Wu rushed to the communication panel. This is Ambassador Ta Wu to all Galactic Alliance ships. Stand down. The humans are not hostile. I repeat, the humans are not hostile. But in the chaos and fear of the moment, it wasn't clear if anyone was listening. The human shuttle was launching. The galactic fleet was moving in. And time was running out. As both sides inched closer to a conflict that could change the fate of the galaxy, Yuna, Ta Wu, and their team realized that the next few moments would determine whether this first contact would end in peace or in war. The small human shuttle glided smoothly through space, moving away from the massive Prometheus. Inside, Captain Yunji sat with a mix of excitement and nervousness. She was about to meet aliens for the first time in human history. Are you ready, Captain? Asked Min Seo, who was piloting the shuttle. Yunji nodded. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's make humanity proud. But as they approached the Harmony, they saw something that made their hearts stink. A large fleet of alien ships was moving into attack positions. Captain, Min Seo said, his voice tense, Those ships look ready for a fight. Yunji's mind raced. They had to stop this before it turned into a war. Open a channel to all ships, she ordered. Meanwhile, on the Harmony, Yuna and Taiwu were frantically trying to contact the Galactic Alliance fleet. Please listen. Yuna shouted into the communicator. The humans are peaceful. Don't attack. Suddenly, a new voice came over all channels. It was Captain Yunji. This is Captain Yunji of Earth. We mean you no harm. We came here to explore and to make new friends. Please, let's talk before anyone does something we'll all regret. In the Galactic Alliance Command Center, Admiral Sumin heard the message. She hesitated, torn between fear and hope. Admiral, Commander Kang said urgently, we're awaiting your orders. Sumin took a deep breath. Stand down, she said finally. All ships, hold your positions. Do not fire. A collective sigh of relief swept through the command center, but the tension wasn't over yet. Back on the Harmony, Ta-Wu turned to Yuna. We need to get the human captain and the admiral to talk directly. It's the only way to prevent a misunderstanding. Yuna nodded and quickly set up a three-way communication link. Soon, the faces of Captain Yunji and Admiral Sumin appeared on screens in front of them. Greetings, Ta-Wu said, trying to keep his voice calm. I am Ambassador Ta-Wu. With me is Yuna, a junior diplomat. We're here to help you understand each other. Yunji spoke first. Admiral, I assure you, we came here in peace. We had no idea this region of space was inhabited. We're explorers, not conquerors. Chu Min's four eyes blinked rapidly. Your ship, it's so powerful. We thought you were preparing to attack. Yunji shook her head. No, not at all. Our ship, the Prometheus, is designed for long-distance space travel. Yes, it has defensive capabilities, but that's not why we're here. Then why are you here? Sumin asked, still suspicious. To learn, Yunji said simply. To discover new worlds, new life. To expand our understanding of the universe. As they talked, Yuna and Taiwu helped explain things that each side didn't understand. Slowly, the tension began to ease. Your civilization, Sumin said, sounding amazed. You've achieved so much on your own. We've never encountered a species with your level of technology that wasn't part of the Galactic Alliance. Yunji smiled. We had a lot to learn from you too. Your alliance of different species working together, it's inspiring. It's something we've only dreamed about. As the conversation continued, both sides began to see the enormous potential in meeting each other. The humans could learn from the Alliance's long history of cooperation between different species. The Alliance could benefit from humanity's unique perspective and advanced technology. Perhaps, Ta-Wu suggested carefully, this could be the beginning of a new chapter for both our peoples. Xu Min and Yunji looked at each other through the screens. Slowly, they both began to smile. Captain Yunji, Sumin said, on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I'd like to officially welcome humanity to the galactic community. Yunji's eyes shone with emotion. Thank you, Admiral. We're honored to be here. As the human shuttle finally docked with the Harmony, a new era of galactic history was about to begin. The first meeting between humans and the Galactic Alliance was moments away. Yuma turned to Ta-Wu, her eyes wide with excitement. We did it, she whispered. We prevented a war. Ta-Wu nodded, smiling. We did more than that, Yuna. We've opened the door to a whole new future. The door of the Harmony opened with a soft hiss. Captain Yunji took a deep breath and stepped through. She was the first human to set foot on an alien ship. Inside, she saw the strangest group of beings she had ever imagined. There was Ambassador Ta-Wu, tall and gray-skinned. Next to him stood Yuna, looking almost human except for her bright purple eyes. Behind them were other aliens of all shapes and sizes. For a moment, everyone was silent. Then Yuna stepped forward with a warm smile. Welcome aboard the Harmony. Captain Yunji, she said in perfect English. Yunji's eyes widened in surprise. You speak our language. Yuna nodded. We have very good translation technology. It helps us understand each other better. As they talked, the tension in the room began to fade. Soon, humans and aliens were chatting, laughing, and sharing stories. Meanwhile, back on Centauri Prime, Admiral Sumin was addressing the Galactic Council. The room was packed with leaders from hundreds of worlds, all eager to hear about the humans. Fellow council members, Sumin began. Today marks a historic moment for our alliance. We have made contact with a new species, the humans, who have achieved incredible technological advances on their own. She went on to explain what they had learned about Earth and its colonies. Many council members were amazed that such a young civilization had come so far. But more importantly, Sumin continued, the humans have shown a deep desire for peace and cooperation. They offer us new perspectives, new ideas that could benefit us all. As the Admiral spoke, news of the peaceful first contact was spreading across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all kinds celebrated the exciting news. Back on the Harmony, Captain Yunji was having a fascinating conversation with Jin, the alien scientist. They were comparing notes on space travel technology. Your method of faster-than-light travel is amazing, Jin said, his eyes wide with excitement. It's completely different from ours. Think of what we could achieve if we combined our knowledge. Yunji nodded, equally thrilled. And your biotechnology is incredible. It could revolutionize medicine on Earth. As the day went on, both sides realized just how much they had to offer each other. The humans' unique approach to science and exploration complemented the Galactic Alliance's vast experience and diverse perspectives. Towards the end of the meeting, Ambassador Tao Wu made an important announcement. Captain Yunji, on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I would like to formally invite humanity to join our community of species. Yunji was honored but knew she couldn't make such a big decision alone. Thank you, Ambassador. I will take your invitation back to Earth. I'm sure our leaders will be very interested. As the humans prepared to return to the Prometheus, there was a sense of excitement and hope in the air. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Yuna approached Yunji one last time. Captain, she said, I hope we'll see each other again soon. There's so much more to share and learn. Yunji smiled warmly. I'm sure we will, Yuna. This is just the start of a long friendship between our peoples. As the human shuttle departed, beings across the galaxy looked to the future with new hope. The arrival of humanity had opened up endless possibilities. On Earth, news of the first contact was met with joy and wonder. People took to the streets, celebrating this amazing discovery. Scientists eagerly prepared for the new knowledge that would soon arrive. World leaders began discussing how to approach this galactic community. And far out in space, the Prometheus began its journey home, carrying a message of peace and the promise of a bright new future. The universe had suddenly become a much bigger and more exciting place for everyone. As Captain Yunji looked out at the stars, she thought about all that had happened. What had started as a routine exploration mission had turned into one of the most important moments in human history. And it was clear that the greatest adventures were still to come. The panic that had first gripped the galactic leaders had transformed into excitement and hope. As humans and aliens alike looked to the stars, they knew that together, they could achieve things they had only dreamed of before.